come over for the next moment? You're not going to want to be on the floor. I know Pastor Rick gets down there. If I got down there, it would take every one of your dads to get me up. So I'm going to sit on a chair. But do you all like books? You're going to want to see the pictures, so you might want to actually come stand beside me. So you can see the pictures, because the pictures are the best part, right? And you know why I like books? Once in a while you find yourself in a book. Right, grown-ups?
Yes.
Once in a while when you're reading, you find yourself in this. So this is The Other Side. It's by Jacqueline Woodson. And the pictures in it are by E.B. Lewis. So it's a summertime story. It just is. We can pretend, right? So that summer, the fence that stretched through our town seemed even bigger. We lived in a yellow house on one side of it. White people lived on the other. And Mama said, "Don't climb over that fence when you play." She thought it wasn't safe. That summer, there was a girl who wore a pink sweater. And each morning she climbed up on that fence and she stared over at our side. Sometimes I stared back. She never sat on that fence with anybody. That girl didn't. Once, when we were jumping rope, she asked if she could play. And my friend Sandra said no, without even asking the rest of us. I don't know what I would have said. Maybe yes, maybe no. That summer, everyone and everything on the other side of that fence seemed far away. When I asked my mama why, she said, "That's because that's always been that way." Sometimes when me and Mama went into town, I saw that girl with her mama. She looked sad sometimes, that girl did. "Don't stare," my mama said, "it's not polite." It rained a lot that summer, and on rainy days, that girl would sit on a fence in a raincoat. And she let herself get all wet, and she acted like she didn't even care. Sometimes I saw her dancing around in the puddles, splashing and laughing. My mama wouldn't let me go out in the rain. She'd say, "That's why I bought you rainy day toys. You stay inside here where it's all warm and dry and safe." But every time it rained, I looked for that girl, and I always found her somewhere near that fence. Someplace in the middle of that summer, the rain finally stopped. And when I walked outside, the grass was damp and the sun was already high in the sky. And I stood there with my hands up in the air, and I felt brave, and I felt free. I got close to the fence, and that girl asked me my name. "Clover," I said. "My name's Annie," she said, "Annie Paul. I live over yonder, over where the laundry is. That's my blouse there hanging on the line." And she smiled. She had a pretty smile. And then I smiled. And we stood there looking at each other, smiling. "It's nice up on this fence," Annie said. "You can see all over." And I just ran my hand along the fence, and I reached up and I touched the top of it. Annie said a fence like this was made for sitting on. And she looked at me sideways. "My mama says I shouldn't go up on the other side," I said. "Oh, my mama says the same thing, but she's never said nothing about sitting on top of that fence." Neither did mine. That summer, Annie sat on that fence with me. And when Sandra and them looked at me, I made like I didn't care. Some mornings my mama watched us. I'd wait for her to tell me to get down from that fence before I break my neck or something. She never did. I see you made a new friend, she said one morning, and I nodded, and Mama smiled. That summer, me and Annie sat on that fence, and we watched the whole wide world around us. One day, Sandra and them were jumping rope near the fence, and we asked if we could play. I don't care, said Sandra. And when we jumped, Sandra and me were partners just the way we used to be. But look, Annie gets to twirl the rope. When we were too tired to jump anymore, we sat up on that fence, all of us, in a long line. Someday, somebody's going to come along and knock this old fence down, said Annie. And Clover nodded and said, yeah, someday. Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you for friends. And we thank you that this church is a place that makes some days happen. Thank you for your love. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. That looks interesting over there on the carpet.